this was an off-market property. So he knew the owner or somehow had the ability to buy this home. Well, he sends me the address. I instantly realize it's East Cleveland. I'm like, oh, like maybe it's not a bad area. And I'm trying to be optimistic about this home. And I pull up to this driveway. Oh, we're in it. We're in the thick of the hood. And I was just like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like, I don't belong like in this area. But like, then I get up to the front porch and just needles all over the front porch. I called him instantly. I was like, dude, you're not buying this home because I'm not willing to walk into the door. And then I FaceTime, I go, because here's what's on the porch. He goes, oh, I didn't realize it was that bad. I was like, yeah, like whoever you're trying to buy this from,
Yeah, they want like $10,000 cash.
Yeah. I was like, just don't do it. Like, it's not good.
They don't even own the house. They're just the guy who's squatting in it. They're like, let's just call people and see if somebody wants to give us 10 grand.
Yeah. And then after that, I realized, like, you know what? I don't like working with out-of-state investors.
Welcome to the night zone, hear the warriors speak. Life's the battlefield and we ain't feeling weak. From love to the game and the power we seek. Our voice is strong, breaking every peak. Talk of love and battle scars, everything that's real. From touchdown to sermon, you know the deal. Strength in every word we begin to reveal. Truth in every tale as our lives we unveil. Talk of love and battle scars, everything that's real. From touchdown to sermon, you know the deal. Strength in every word we begin to reveal. Truth in every tale as our lives we unveil. Protect and provide, we're knights in the fray. Nothing off limits, we got something to say. Life and love, fitness and fight all day. Guys Night Podcast, let's ride the wave. Politics and prayers, ain't no subject we shun. Keep it real, keep it raw till the battle's won. Fitness tips to faith, every topic under the sun. With honor and valor, every man's battle begun. Warriors with word swords through the air. Every point sharp and every talk fair. Knights at the round table, come and pull up a chair. Join the brotherhood, words laid bare. Protect and provide, we're knights in the fray. Nothing off limits, we got something to say. Life and love, fitness and fight all day.
You're good.
Yeah, no, Dave's doing really well. I mean, you know, everything's going really well. We're gonna do some like new branding, I think, just to incorporate jiu-jitsu. So like right now we're Elevate Wrestling Academy, but we have jiu-jitsu, right? So for the average consumer, that's not, you don't connect with that as much because you might be at like, you know, Acme and see Elevate Wrestling Academy, but you might want to do jiu-jitsu, but you might never make the connection. So it's something that we've kind of like learned is like, well, we're going to have to like rebrand it a little bit if we want to really capture the jiu-jitsu community.
What if you just do Elevate Wrestling and Jiu-Jitsu?
So that's what we were doing now. Exactly to the point is it's just Elevate Wrestling and Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
So that's exactly where we're going to go with it. We're not going to do like people have asked me before, like, dude, why don't you do kickboxing or Muay Thai? And it's like, that's all good stuff, but like that's basically opening up a whole new business.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude, to even get jiu-jitsu off the ground was almost equally as hard as doing the wrestling. It's a different community. It's a different people. Like I'm dealing with adults, not kids. You know, it's as great as that is. It's like, I don't have to deal with children. Right. But like, there's a different type of like, how do you cater to these people? You know what I mean?
Well, I think the other thing too is there's like all kinds of different levels of training. And how do you cater to each person?
1000%, yeah.
You know, especially when it comes to jiu-jitsu. Like for me, I prefer like combat jiu-jitsu where you're working with like weapons and self-defense and things like that. And then there's competition jiu-jitsu, which is like detailed maneuvers and like
more traditional.
Yeah, and then there's everything in between, and then like how you drill, how you conduct a practice or
practice.
Yeah, so everybody's different. Like some are really high intense, some take a lot of time on describing and detailing the moves and less time on drilling. So it's like finding that niche of where you can make everybody happy that's coming to your school. But how many classes are you guys doing with the jiu-jitsu now? Because before you guys were morning and night a couple days a week.
So we scaled up. we found that like we were just doing like a 6:30 and then a 5:30 p.m. So 6:30
1 day a
a.m.
week.
No, we were doing 4 days. So we had 4 sessions total.
Okay.
So we've ramped it up. So we actually got rid of our morning sessions. So there's no more morning sessions. We might bring it back. There's just not enough demand there yet. So we're doing like 12 to 1:30 on Mondays and Wednesdays. And then
12 to 1:30 in the afternoon.
yes, 12
Really?
p.m. to 1:30.
How's that?
Because these people who like just want to roll, dude, you know how many people work from home nowadays? They're just like,
Good
there's like,
point.
I could get a good morning, I can get an afternoon roll in, like a little lunch roll and stuff. And we, we're small. We don't have like a ton. We're not a massive school. We haven't even been in business 1 year yet for jiu-jitsu. But like we usually get 3-4 people that come in on these Mondays and Wednesdays, and then we do Tuesdays, Thursdays. Those are our bigger ones. Like we're averaging probably 12 to 15 guys really on average. We have our core group right now, which is just awesome group of guys, and super big kudos to John. Like he's doing an amazing job with that. Like, he's essentially running everything, and, I'm just delegating everything out, working on the behind the scenes and stuff. And John just does an amazing job. Like so blessed to have him on the team because he's really built up. I mean, we started with like 3 people.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're 20 plus now
Wow.
in less than a year.
Yeah, that's great.
So it is
20 consistent members, like monthly members or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
That's fantastic.
But not everyone shows up to every practice.
course.
You know what I mean? So like our Tuesdays and Thursdays are our big days, right? So like I said, we'll get, on average 12 to 15, which is awesome. And then we've implemented a Friday evening session. So like a 5:30 to 6:45 evening, which we'll scale back usually like 5 to 6. Habit's doing an adult wrestling on Sundays.
What?
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like it's kind of like a wrestle jutsu kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
where you implement. It's a lot more just adult wrestling. So it's weird because some people show up and some people don't, and it's like Habit has maybe 1 or 2 people. It turns more into like a private session.
Yeah.
And stuff. So we're really hoping that'll end up taking off 2026.
I think
But
it's
yeah,
more
man.
about consistency, right? When it
For
comes
sure.
to anything like that, the more consistent you do things and people know that they can show up at X time and do it, then, eventually enough people know where you can kind of fill it
Yeah.
out. Did you guys get busier like during Christmas break and stuff like that with like college students coming home or not?
We did, yeah. I mean, we did for like our wrestling sessions. Yeah, like we definitely did. People coming home and
Yeah.
stuff. For jujitsu, it's been the nice thing about like with jujitsu is it is consistent. We don't have big ebbs and flows or everything. It's just very consistent in our numbers. For wrestling, like we don't have a competition team yet in season. Right. So all of our high schoolers are gone, right? Unless you want supplemental
Right,
training, right? Then they'll come. But like, for what you really want to hit is youth and middle school. Those are your numbers, right? But we don't really have a competition team yet. So like, we don't have that. We have inconsistencies. We'll have real big like Monday nights, and then, we'll have smaller Tuesday nights, then real big Wednesday nights, but then maybe a small Thursday night. You know what I mean? Whereas in the off season, we're getting 30, 40 plus kids.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So once we kind of figure out how to create the in-season competition team, I think we'll flourish. Just, dude, I'm doing 2 jobs right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of hard to like give 100% to both. You
Yeah,
know?
definitely. And one's doesn't pay the bills as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
I
yet.
had to
Not yet anyway.
I had to reinvest everything back in. Actually, I was just showing Kevin the bat.
Yeah. That was when you guys were on, and that was when you first opened up the jiu-jitsu clinic. Like that was literally like a couple of days
January
after.
or February.
Yeah, I think it was.
It was.
It was
I
it
thought
February? Did you guys
before.
do like a Valentine's Day? Was like
We
the
did.
opening or something like that? Like
Yes,
that morning class at like 5
Day
a.m.
free. We did a free,
Yeah.
like a free trial one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was after that.
It was
after
literally right after that.
Yeah, yeah,
'Cause I
yeah.
think that's where I talked to you guys at. And then I was
Yeah,
like, you guys should
yeah,
come
yeah.
on. And it was like maybe a couple weeks after that. So yeah, dude, that was when
I'm blessed.
He
That's
broke it on
awesome.
the floor right over there, dude. I didn't think he was gonna do it. I was like, dude, there's all the pressure in the world because we've been told you're gonna be able to do this, and he's like, oh shit.
He did it. He did it.
He
You don't
did
want to
do
mess
it.
with John. He's a nice dude, but man, you don't want to mess with him.
Yeah, that was pretty sick.
Yeah,
So-
I'm so
honestly
honored
crazy
I'm so
impressive.
honored you left it.
Oh yeah, dude, that'll be a piece of that video does well. Hey, real quick, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Guys Night Podcast. If you're joining in, appreciate you having you tonight. As always, Evans joins me. What's up, dude?
Same old stuff, just got fired.
Same old stuff.
Same old stuff. Got fired. Okay.
Yeah.
And tonight we're going to talk real estate. So welcome back, Chris, from the Jiu-Jitsu show, as we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Elevate's doing well. And tonight we're going to hear about your full-time job that funds your passion, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, dude. And you brought Kevin with you.
Yes.
Kevin, you're an agent, correct?
Correct.
So I was going to have David, who's also an agent on it, but he was a little bit, he was like, well, I can't be on when there's another agent on. So I was like, all right, no worries. But it was good to have a new face on. So where are you an agent? How long have you been an agent?
So I recently became a full-time agent as of this year.
Okay.
I got licensed back in 24, and I was working for a real estate investment company. And then recently in May, I decided to take on real estate full-time. And currently I'm with the EXP and the Increvia team in Strongsville. That's where I'm based.
Awesome.
And then I kind of work all over. It's the name of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Chris, talk us, what part of real estate are you in? What is it you do?
Yeah, I do residential real estate. So I do mortgages. I've been in mortgages for, I got licensed in 2018. Right. So
Almost 8 years.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. September 2018 was I got licensed. So been in it for a while. It was my first job. I was at my last company, Liberty Home Mortgage. I graduated in May of 2018, got licensed, took my safe test, and then literally just started going right there. And then I left Liberty in June of 24, and I'm at my new company now, Synergy One Lending. I've been there since June of 24.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear more about that. Before we get started tonight, guys, special thanks to a sponsor of ours. You guys might have remembered Trent from Why Not Solutions and the woodworking show, but he delivered this to us in time for Christmas. This thing is huge.
That's so cool.
But he was at the 50th episode barbecue, and he's like, dude, you need something to lay brisket on that's a lot nicer. So this one's got room for like 3 20-pound briskets, maybe 4.
Oh my gosh.
This thing is enormous, but
It's pretty heavy.
yeah, it's super heavy. I'm gonna try to help him. Actually, he's kind of going off on his own, so we're gonna try to help him get his like Instagram and stuff like that cranked up. But he does like anything that you can imagine with wood, uses CNC machine and all kinds of stuff. So specializes in doing stuff for our veterans. But he made this cutting board for us. It's got the inlay from the Quartz GK for Guys Night. This thing is sick, man. So super stoked. Wanted to make sure we gave him a shout out. But yeah, tonight we're going to talk real estate, anything and everything that could possibly come up that I'm interested to hear. I think we'll talk about the agent side of things. Obviously, being a new agent, you're probably experiencing something new every time you pick up the phone or make a visit.
Yeah, it's every day. Every day you see something new that comes to the table.
Yeah. And then for you, Chris, I imagine right now it's tough. You know, I can't tell how many of my friends are out there trying to get their first loan or second home loan. And income is not matching up necessarily with the price of houses, right? Like first house, my first house was 5 acres and a 4-year-old house with a finished basement for $150,000. Now, I mean, that was almost 20 years ago. Now for $150,000, you're buying a house that won't pass inspection, better be a cash purchase, is a 2-bedroom, like 600 square foot house in the middle of, not somewhere you necessarily want to be. Like, there's a big difference in getting a loan and being able to afford that first house. So
yeah, 1,000%.
Let's talk about, what's going on right now and some of the things that have changed over the last year. And when it comes to lending or those first time buyers, what are the things that are key?
For sure. So I'll even back up a little further just because like pre-2020, we were already kind of in a little bit of a inventory struggle, right? With builders building enough homes for buyers, right? And as typically, right, like your first home, most first-time home buyers aren't going to have the new build. Typically, they're going to go ahead and, even 3,000 square foot home, not typically your first home.
Right.
You're going to find something maybe 1,500 square feet or less is, maybe you're single individual or boyfriend, girlfriend moving together. Usually that's kind of the narrative. But, pre-2020, we didn't really we were already kind of struggling with the inventory, right? Building wasn't going fast enough and stuff. And then, when the Fed turned the money printers on back in 2020 and they dropped rates, right? Like that really kind of changed a lot. So, the economic machine was booming for, 2020 all the way up until mid 2022. Then we started having multiple rate hikes. The Federal Reserve started having multiple rate hikes to
Well, the
fight
government started-
inflation.
yeah, I was gonna say the government was throwing out money left and right at that
Yeah,
point in time with
correct.
COVID and stuff like that.
And
So,
that's what
yeah.
helps. So when those rates went like that, right, you have an increase of buyer demand, which is going to end up increasing the overall purchase price in aggregate, right, for
Sure.
a given area. So like in Cleveland, we had, I mean, don't quote me, I mean, year over year, we were having 25% appreciation, which was crazy. Like typically in a market, you're going to see closer to like 2 to 5%. If that's, you don't do anything to your home, just natural appreciation.
Right.
But like again, because of that boom in from 2020 to 2022, because of the lower rates, because of the higher demand, it pushed purchase prices up so much higher. Now we're starting, like when you're asking about what's kind of going on now, we still get into the multiple offer situations.
100%.
But like, it's not nearly as bad as it was.
You talk about when somebody's throwing a counter offer above asking price
Yeah.
to steal the house, kind of, or not steal it, but
Yeah, like
to come in higher.
you list your house, so it was in let's say 2021, for example, like you list your house at, $300,000, right? Well, you list that on Thursday night. By Friday morning, you're going to end up having like all these inquiries and all these different showings scheduled. Well, by Friday night, I mean, you might end up having 15, 16 offers, $40,000 over your asking or your initial ask. But that, and then that's going to end up pushing it up. There might be an appraisal gap. Like someone might want to say like, hey, appraiser comes in and they say, okay, hey, this is worth, $340,000, $330,000, right? Well, the buyer might be okay with paying that difference if the appraisal was short, right?
Right.
So again, now that is a comparable property. That becomes a comparable property for 123 Holly Jolly Lane down the road.
Sure.
That's a similar 3-bedroom, 4-bathroom or 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. So now you're basing off of something that's 340,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then just the cycle just keeps going.
Sure.
Well,
and how hard is that being on the agency side, the agent side? Like you missed that kind of first boom, but like you said, you're still seeing it now. Like when you're trying to put in an offer, is that a conversation that you have to have with a client where you're saying, hey, look, if you really want this house, you're going to have to put in more, or are you seeing, how do you make that decision on when to go in over or not?
Yeah, well, it's really just kind of
Pull that mic just a little bit closer to you, bud. Sorry.
It's really just the initial conversation that you have with the client. Especially if they're looking for a home that's in the $250,000 to $300,000 range, that is really the price point that everybody wants. So you have to have that tough conversation on what are you comfortable with when we do submit an offer and it is a multiple offer situation.
How do you know that?
Is
it just a conversation with the selling agent at that point?
And that's what it is. Because I always, before we even submit an offer, I'll call the seller, the selling agent, and ask those questions. Is there any other offers on the table? Any other interest? And
now, are they required to be honest with you at that point, or not really?
It's kind of a gray area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a game.
And it is. It's a complete mental game.
Mm-hmm.
Where a lot of times I think agents are majority honest. So you can work with a nice agent. They'll tell you kind of the nitty gritties on what they are able to disclose. And then it kind of just leaves you kind of just up to interpretation on where you think we need to be at. But then, of course, you always sometimes run it to the agent like, oh, we have multiple offers. Just bring your highest and best.
Yeah.
And those are kind of like the riskier situations because it's like someone could be just at the asking price and you don't want to submit an offer that's now $10,000 over that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have that conversation with your buyer at that point? I mean, especially and don't take any offense to this, but you said you've been doing this for about a year and a half, right? And you're a young guy. So, I mean, somebody's trusting you to help them make the decision that essentially is where their family's going to grow up, right? And
100%.
And I imagine that real estate agency is or agents, the long in the tooth agents have those relationships with other agents where they're maybe be like, yeah, you could do this or do this. But with the new guy, they're like, maybe this is a opportunity to get greedy, right?
100%.
So how has it been, with you starting to take on those solutions, but then also how is it with the agency you work for and how do they help you with that?
So the first part with just the agency I work for, it's great. We're one of the biggest teams in Ohio. And so to have their support is awesome just because I can reach out to anybody on the team, ask them nitty-gritty questions, or they can give me information about the other agent, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But then two, like the biggest thing I always do is I try to become friends with every agent. Whether we're doing a deal together, we're not doing a deal together, but you never know
When you're
when
gonna
you
need 'em.
might run into that agent. So I make friends with every agent and I try to keep a great relationship. And that was what really kind of helps with multiple offer situations.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like my most recent deal, I befriended the agent right away, and then he called me out of the blue. He goes, "Look, I want to work with you, so this is where I need you to be at, and I can secure the deal for your client." And now to my clients, I look like the hero just because
Yeah.
I secured the deal. But really, it was just the mental game of becoming friends with that agent to be able to work together.
Sure.
Yeah, really in the relationship business. I mean, yeah,
Yes.
like we've talked before, like you know, with all the technology that you have in today's world, right?
Sure.
With AI, everything, it's like, you know, we're here to just provide the service. The house will sell itself. People will walk into a home and be like, "I like this house," or "I don't like this house."
Right.
You know, it's really just doing exactly what Kevin's talking about. It's the relationships that matter. Being able to connect with people on that emotional level and being able to like really service them, right? Because I think people snuff out BS pretty quickly. He's not a BS guy, right? He's very like what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you're saying like, oh, hey, you've only been in here for a year and a half, I wouldn't know if he was in the industry for 10 years. The way he articulates and talks, it's like shit. Like this guy's pretty good, you know?
Well, yeah, because I come from a sales background, so the first thing I ever did was in-home sales.
For
And
what?
that, I sold bathrooms.
You sold remodeled bathrooms?
Yeah, for Rebath. I
Okay.
sold bathrooms.
Right on.
And that was a wild job.
Yeah, dude. I can imagine.
Yeah, because it was.
Did you do that in 2020?
Yeah, 2021.
So that's
yeah.
probably a good time to do bathrooms.
It was awesome.
Yeah. I feel like,
It
was like
was crazy.
So I come from the auto industry, and I got out right at 2020. But like anything, if you were selling anything from 2020 to like 2023, everybody was buying, everybody was paying top dollar. And
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it was like,
Lumber.
yeah, like
literally.
everything was at that was a great time to be in sales. Whether you were selling cars, houses, bathrooms,
Yeah.
didn't matter.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead, man. So you're
But-
selling bathrooms for a couple of years, huh?
Yeah, selling bathrooms, and like you said, it was so wild because I was running 3 appointments a day, damn near 7 days a week, and it was brutal. I'd be 60, 70 appointments a month, but like everybody was buying bathrooms.
Yeah, making money. Well, I mean, because everybody's trying to take advantage of the housing market too, right? Like, hey, or if I'm either gonna buy a house and get a newer bathroom, or I'm gonna keep the one I have, let the equity keep building, and I'll
Yep.
put my own in. So, yeah, I can imagine.
But being in home sales, the greatest lesson I learned from that was just being able to communicate with people. And the biggest thing is like be a chameleon.
Yeah,
So you always match that person and that skill. Like now I say it to my fiance all the time. Like if we have a boy, we're putting him in sales.
yeah,
he's got to go in sales.
yeah, absolutely.
Sales and wrestling, baby.
Yeah, that's literally what it is. It's sales is a great industry, and it just teaches you really so much about just business communication. Which is
Yeah, for
everything that you
some,
need.
for some,
Yeah.
you know, it definitely it takes a work ethic that's second to none.
Yeah, I think you got to have the nitty gritty mindset and be able to accept the fact that you're going to get told no
Yeah.
a lot of times.
Where'd you get your
Yeah.
nitty gritty mindset from?
That comes from wrestling, baby.
That's probably something we should mention too. We wrestled at the same college together.
Oh, no, okay,
Yeah.
that was what college did you wrestle?
Beat
at?
Baldwin Wallace
Yeah,
University.
yeah.
Yeah. So I was wait, was I a senior when you were a freshman?
Yeah, I was
or
a
were you
freshman.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
were
so
a
I was a
senior.
senior. I graduated in 18 and you graduated 21, right?
21.
God,
Yeah.
you guys are so.
Did you get your
young, man.
MBA or
No,
okay?
I got a second degree.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how we knew each other, just from beat up wrestling and stuff. And like I said, that nitty gritty thing, and like we were talking about wrestling earlier, like I'll make a lot of like different analogies to the sport, right? Like just because there's so much stuff. Like sales is, I mean, you know, like you were in sales too and stuff, and it sucks. Like it's never the most like rewarding job,
No.
right? You get told no a lot. You get told to piss off a lot.
Hours suck usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked call center for the first 5 years of my industry, right out of college. I was call center, right? So like that was like for the mortgage industry, that was like the hardcore like sales, right?
Yeah.
So that was a lot difficult. But a lot of what like helped propel me versus a lot of my other peers at the time going into the industry was like, dude, you just gotta you don't even have to be smarter than people. You just kind of have to like work just harder. What does that mean? It's like coming in early, staying late, asking questions, just like working when people aren't working. Like I got a lot of leads in when people will go on lunch breaks, right? Because leads were always coming in all the time, right? 24/7. But some people would just like, hey, I'm clocking in at 9. I'm going to clock out at 12, get back at 12:30, and then clocking out at 5. It's like, no, dude, like they're coming in all the time. Like the more at bats you have, the more successful you'll be. And like, that's just like, I didn't have, like, there were people that were definitely smarter than me. Like, you know, probably taller too, right? Like, but like, all I did was just like, I ate my lunch at my desk and I just took leads and called them. And like, it sucks, but that's, you know, ultimately what you did.
Well, it depends on how hungry you are, right? Like I remember, so when I first got into sales, I went into the car business right out of the military. Had no clue what I was doing, but I knew how to work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, right? So it was easy for me to like be at the dealership from the time that the service department opened until
you did auto sales. You did
car sales.
Gotcha.
So I could get there 7 o'clock in the morning, and then I'd stay at the night. And I'll never forget. It was like my first month in, and I sold like 6 or 7 cars, and I was like, I don't think I'm doing that well. And then I found out what my commissions were on those 6 or 7 cars, and I was like, fuck yeah. So I rented the house. It was literally, you guys know where like the John Deere and Johnny K's over in Burbank is?
I'm not, no.
Yeah,
no,
not
it's on
familiar.
83, and it's like, you guys know where Burbank is?
I know where Burbank.
yeah, I know
You know
where
where the truck stop is there?
Yeah, like where
Okay, yeah.
So there's 2 big dealerships right there, right by
Gotcha.
the outlet malls or the old
Gotcha,
outlet malls.
gotcha,
Anyhow,
yeah.
so I worked there. Well, behind them is this place called Harley Drilling, and they had an office building. It was like a 1,600-foot square brick ranch house. So I rented that, and I could literally walk to the dealership. So like, there would be somebody on the lot at like 8 o'clock at night. And like if the general manager or sales manager was late, like doing deals or booking deals or stuff, he'd be like, hey, if you want to come over here, like there's somebody wandering the lot. Like, fuck it, I ain't got nothing to do. I'd go over there and end up selling a car at like 10 o'clock at night on a Friday. Or go in on your day off and stay there all day and just piss everybody off because you're taking ups and leads on what's supposed to be your day off. But it's like, dude, I'm here to win. Like,
yeah. And I'm glad I did that early on in my career too, because if you asked me to do that now, like I got out of that honestly, because I have a wife, 2 kids, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no
you got
way
a
I
second
could
business now too.
Yeah. So like
The
early
12-hour days are no go.
No, I mean, but as you get older, you work smarter, not harder too. Like you kind of just learn how to do the business better, more efficiently and everything. So I'm like, that's kind of where I cater to now, is like just being more efficient at my job. Whereas like, like early on, it's just dial. That's pretty much it. I was licensed in 16 states, right? Just dialing Zillow leads, Lending Tree leads, Realtor.com, like a bunch.
So you're the guy, if I show interest in a property, I get 45 phone calls in 30 seconds.
I'm one of those guys.
I get a text message. It's like, damn, bro, I just want to know what the price was.
Pick up the phone.
literally.
Yeah.
So what's the lending industry like right now? First time buyers. What are some of the things that are key? Because I know obviously the mortgage industry, when it comes to financing money, hasn't always had the best of luck, aka 2008, right?
Yeah.
Stated income is probably no longer a thing. Or is that making a comeback?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of
great.
They're different. The nature of 2008 versus now, they're just different, right? Like when you talk about regulation, we're way more regulated now, like very, very regulated. Like you have like Equal Credit Opportunity Acts, you have RESPA, the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, you have TILA, the Truth in Lending Act.
Before we
all
run
these
through all
things.
these things, what are a couple of these things? I mean, Equal Opportunity Act, that's been a thing for quite some time, right? That's
So
do you guys go through, and I don't know if you would even know this, but it's similar to the car industry. Do you guys go through audits where like they ensure that like your APR rate difference or like your markup or anything isn't different?
Yeah, you can't have high so you have like you have to have high cost. You can't pass. You have to pass high costs, right? Like your fees can't be more than like 5% of a loan amount, for example. So there's different things we're regulated on. Some of them are like annoying. Some of them make sense to have them in place, right? So like RESPA section, which we can definitely go into Zillow and kind of what their lawsuit right now is, because that's kind of the big buzz in our industry, is what's kind of going on with Zillow and their kickbacks and essentially what they're doing, as some perceive as illegal, which I also think is kind of illegal.
What are you talking about?
So Dodd-Frank. So after Dodd-Frank, we have this RESPA, right, Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, which Section 8 of RESPA states no kickbacks. It's no kickbacks or thing of value to referral partners, right? So like,
So no bird dogs, basically.
so
right?
yeah, like I can't tell like, hey, Mr. Real Estate Agent, Mrs. Real Estate Agent, here's, $500 to, I don't know, Walmart, go get, make sure you send me deals. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you can't do, that's how the industry tanked back in 2008 because you had so much collusion, right? Like that's the whole thing was to get rid of the collusion, right? So you can't do that. It's a violation of RESPA. You can get like in a lot of trouble for that. So now the whole thing with Zillow is if you understand how Zillow operates, they're like essentially like, they are a website where you can go ahead and see, your Zestimate. That's the whole thing, the Zestimate of my home. What is my home worth, right? Well, a lot of that, how they make money is Zillow actually sells your information to people who want to purchase like real estate agents or lenders to go ahead and, use them as leads. Those become leads at that point, right? Well, Zillow, they have within their company Zillow Home Loans, so they're a lending institution as well. So now they control the portal, right, of where buyers are getting funneled, and now they're also controlling the lending aspect of it too. So they're
So they have their own lending department,
So yeah, so they have their own lending
or do they
institution.
partner with other banks?
No, they're direct.
They're doing their own.
Yeah, they're direct.
Wow, where do they get the funding for that?
Well, Zillow's multi-million dollar.
I'm pretty sure they're a $16-17 billion company.
Yeah.
So where does the 16 to 17 billion start? Forgive me for being naive as far as Zillow goes, but other than just offering an app to list houses and give you a value for your home, what drove $16 billion in business?
Yeah, again, so they make their money not necessarily just from Zillow Home Loans. They would make it a lot from just doing Zillow Premier Agents. Again, where like you want to advertise on Zillow. Okay, like you're a real estate agent. Hey, I want to be in this zip code, and for anyone who visits the website and sees 123 Holly Jolly Lane, I want my information to pop up, right? Okay, hey, Zillow's gonna say that's $4,000 a month. And then you basically get that you pay them a premium of $4,000 a month to be that premier agent, in the hopes of you're going to end up getting 4, 5, 6 different leads from it.
Gotcha.
Buyer or seller leads.
Right.
Take that multiplied by the entire country.
Sure.
Like in every zip code that you could possibly think of.
Interesting.
Right. So now Zillow Home Loans, the part where they're violating Section 8 is they're basically steering. Right. Is like they're telling the clients or the consumer that you have to go with Zillow Home Loans instead of having an option to go with like a local lender or having different options in themselves. Because consumers don't know they can shop around, right?
Well, I think they do. I just
To an
don't
extent.
think. But I think when it comes to home loans, right? Like, I mean, the market rate is the market rate. Like, you're not gonna. If it's 5.25 right now, you're not going to see a whole lot of flexibility.
There's not much margin for sure, right? Like no loan officer is going to tell you I have like 100 basis point difference in an interest rate unless there's, points baked into there, right? But the problem is for the consumer not knowing enough, right? They're just there to go on Zillow to go ahead and see like, hey, I like this home. An agent calls them and they say, hey, I'd love to help you out. They don't know any better. And then they say, oh, by the way, you need pre-approved. Go with Zillow Home Loans, because essentially that agent is going to end up has an incentive to do that. They're getting more commission or they're getting better leads or they're whatever. So it's a thing of value. That's what the whole lawsuit's basically about, right? So, but yeah. I mean, so I don't know. Zillow gets in trouble all the time, just like any big bank, like any big company will get in trouble. And who knows if they'll end up like, I personally think they're going to end up being just more transparent in what they tell their consumers and stuff. Like EXP does a very good job. They're right now, EXP is like doing a direct response to that, right? Which I think is like very, very good.
Yeah, they're just trying to get ahead of
Like,
the
how are they
headaches.
being more direct?
So now, like, we have a new consumer guide that when you get it signed, you automatically will put now 3 different referrals for a title company, a loan officer, an inspector, just so we can cover ourselves on our end, because obviously in this industry, like, you just have to always protect yourself, especially with just the number of contracts and just the idea of something could go wrong. So if you can backtrace it and say, okay, yeah, we're covered here, so we have nothing to worry about.
So
there.
you use the same ones in every deal? Is that what you're saying, or where do you cover this at? Sorry.
Yeah, so now we do it on the front end with our new consumer guide. So with that, we'll get it signed in the very beginning. Like say me and you go on a buyer consultation. Now I'm going to give you the BBA and the consumer guide and give you those options just so you can have them in your back pocket as well.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
So what is that document now? It's got to be signed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of there was a
BBA.
lot of stuff around that over the last couple of years because that came out in what 23,
No,
24.
Yeah,
August of
24. Yeah,
24,
August
I
of
think.
August 24. So
Yeah.
let's share what is that document that maybe a new buyer or seller as well, right? Or is it
Yeah,
just a
so
buyer?
just mainly buyers.
Mainly buyer. Okay.
Yeah, and with this document, basically, it now states that I will represent you during this process, I guess the big thing about it is it has to be signed before you even go to look at a house. Where I think a lot of because for me, I came into the industry and it was just a standard, so it's like I was just used to doing it that way.
Yeah.
But it was a big change for other agents who never did that, just because it's kind of weird now that I have to make you sign a document
Yeah, right, before we go
before
look
we
at
even go into a house.
So is that for every house you go to?
Every house.
Okay.
Well, it's. I mean, once you sign it with him, like let's
Yeah,
say you
so
don't have
you-
to do it again. to
No,
look
you
at
can
other
do
houses.
like so if I'm just meeting someone for the first time, like it's a Zillow lead,
Mhm.
we're probably only going to do a 1-day document just because I don't want them to feel like they can only work with me. And it also just makes people kind of standoffish where it's like, oh yeah, sign this agreement. We're going to be in contract for the next 6 months.
Right,
And we don't
okay,
even know
okay.
each other.
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that first agreement, it's just you're doing a first consultation. You're sitting down. You're having them go over this agreement. What does the agreement state specifically?
Yeah. So really what it states is just that I'm going to represent you in this process essentially. And then it also talks about the commission breakdown. And I think that's where it also gets a little bit weary just because now it's stating in the document that you're going to pay my commission, where in reality, the commission 9 times out of 10 is going to come from the seller proceeds.
Gotcha.
And I think with that document, the biggest thing is just being able to communicate that in a simple way to make your client or soon to be client not be like standoffish or feel like they're just getting trapped or suckered into a contract.
What was the goal of this form?
Really, it was just to kind of disclose more information and to really make things transparent.
Mhm.
And it was actually, I think it's better for the consumer just because now they know like where money is going or what's being covered in the
Right.
transaction.
And that's negotiable as well, right?
Commissions are always negotiable.
Right. So that first contract you're signing with the client, they could sit down and be like, look, I'm only going to pay 1%. And you have to make the decision if you're going to still serve them or not. Right.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of people are okay with the fact, especially when you talk about the fact that you shouldn't have to pay my commissions. We're gonna demand that the seller pays that out of the net proceeds.
Which 9 times out of 10,
Yeah.
that's how it works anyway.
And it's
right?
kind of just been the industry norm for so many years that it really didn't change much.
It really didn't.
But what's also
the only the
kinda-
document really changed anything.
Yeah. And what's interesting about it too is
it doesn't necessarily for maybe most people it doesn't change anything.
Mhm.
But now if I'm a buyer going into the market, I'm going to use that as a point of contention possibly or
For sure.
negotiation, right? But then also because let's say it's 3% versus 1%, but we're talking about I mean today's average market house is what $350,000 probably or
Northeast Ohio,
$300,000 in
yeah.
Northeast Ohio. So you're talking about $9,000 in negotiating power that you lose with that commission. That's got to be paid out of the seller's proceeds. So I can see that I'm surprised. I think maybe that's why at first it was such a contentious thing because people were probably saying like, well, can't you just do 2%? Or, you know, excuse you, buddy, you gonna make it?
I'm gonna make it work.
No wonder you got fired. So I could see initially probably a lot of people had that same opinion, like, oh, I'm going to negotiate this. Then you had agents that were probably fighting back on it a little bit.
well, yeah, I think you just had the agents who really weren't even talking about it with buyers.
Yeah.
So they were just going into transactions blind, and then the agent could turn around when they're already under contract, getting set to close, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you owe me 1 to 2% of this amount."
Wow.
And so it's really just to better the process for the consumer, just make it really transparent on, look, here's my commission rate. The seller's typically going to pay it, but say they only cover like a portion of that, you guys would have to make up the difference.
Yeah. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong though. Like, when that's disclosed, like the seller, you could have like on the MLS, like a seller would say like, "Hey, seller's not paying buyer agent commission." You know what I mean? Like, isn't that already?
You can't disclose anything about commission now in the MLS.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, really?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you have to have that tough conversation with the listing agent now.
Right at the beginning?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Because it's going to really kind of determine your offer. Because if the seller's only offering a 2% commission, but you write in an offer where you're demanding 3%,
Right.
Yeah.
it's like, well, now if there's
Now
two
you got to go to your
offers that
client, ask for a
Yeah.
percent, or now your offer is $3,000 lower or whatever. it is.
Exactly. So if there's 2 offers that are the exact same, but this guy's only asking for 2% commission and you're asking for 3% commission, it's a no-brainer. They're going to pick this one.
So at one point in time, wasn't it like standard 7% split 3.5, 3.5, or then sometimes it would be like 4-3 or 5-2 or something like that.
I
But
think standard is 6%.
6%.
Yeah,
maybe that's
split
what it was.
3-3.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6% split.
But
you could also, I mean, as the listing, I'm not an agent, but like as a listing agent, you want to maximize the amount of offers that you can get, right? Because you want people to compete for that listing. So like, I don't know. I guess there's a part of me that's like, hey, if you call the agent and say, hey, we're only paying X amount, you know what I mean? Or we're not, or the buyer has to pay all of it. They might be adverse now to even wanting to make an offer. Now
Yeah,
you're
but-
losing that buyer,
but then as the buyer, you're not doing your job that you're held to on that contract either. If you're going to if you're not even bringing it up to your to the person you're representing to say, let's make an offer, hey, this is a scenario, you just move on from that house because you don't like the way the commission is, then you're not doing your job.
or the buyer
as
just
well.
isn't comfortable paying that commission to the buyer.
Well, I would
agent.
say that would be the hardest part. Is I don't think most buyers expect to actually pay a commission out when
And
they're
that's-
buying a house.
That's what it is.
They're already
because-
paying all kinds of upfronts and everything else. The seller
Yeah.
is the one. I mean, anytime I want to sell a house, I've always had to think in the back of my head, like, okay, I'm going to pay out 6% of whatever I sell to, plus closing costs. So, like, how much do I really need to sell my house for? But yeah, that's definitely some areas of contention, really across the board, due to that form. But at the same point in time, it is probably better for the market. In that
Yeah, and I
sense.
think
It is
now
better
it's
for the
kind
consumer,
of
yeah.
stabilized. It's just the standard now. It's not like that document's ever going to go away.
Yeah.
So agents who weren't used to it had to adjust pretty quickly, just because if you were to get audited and you didn't have that document, well, now you're paying fees and extra expenses out of your pocket just because you didn't take 10 to 15 minutes to go over, I would say, a pretty important document, just so everybody's on the same page with the whole process.
Yeah, of course.
It definitely frustrates a lot of agents in general because if you don't have that, I guess salesy, not I won't even want to say technique, but if you're not used to being able to negotiate, if you're not used to being able to be like have these tougher conversations, like unfortunately sometimes this job just isn't for you then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you are put in a lot of uncomfortable positions where you are trying to help at the same time, but like, dude, you got to make, you have to have some tough conversations with these people, right? And a lot of people just can't do that. That's why you have a lot of people like since 2020, like people got into the market in 2020, 2021 because it was fairly easy, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden they just let go their license go just because now it's a little bit harder. And I think 2026 is going to be a great year. I think there's a lot of really good things going on next year. And unfortunately, a lot of people aren't going to reap that reward just because they got out too early.
Sure. What you talking about, the agency side of things or the?
Well, the loan officers the
I
same.
was
Like
on both sides.
on both sides. I mean, we're both
thing.
dealing with people, right? Like, I do a lot of on the mortgage side, we work a lot of refinances and purchases. But, the average rate right now is a 6.25, which in 2021 people were buying at like 2.25, 3.25, So it's like no refinances are really happening right now unless there's
Right.
divorce or relocation or debt consolidation or something like
Equity.
that.
Maybe somebody's pulling out equity, but at that point, it's
Yeah, exactly. So there's huge shrinkage, right? Like, I mean, huge shrinkage within that. But like the ones who stayed, like I said, we've like last year was kind of like it wasn't a terrible year, it wasn't a great year, but like it kind of is building up into 2026. Like I think we're gonna see some type of settling next year. I think we are gonna see a little bit more inventory coming up. There's the Fed. Jerome Powell is leaving in May,
Yeah.
right? So that could have some new implications.
Yeah, let's hope
So
the
there's
next guy gets along with Trump a little bit better.
Yeah, well, I can only imagine their phone calls.
I know, right?
Yeah, so there's a
Somewhere
lot of
there
really
on
good things
TikTok.
that if I'm eyeing anything as Q2 of next year, I think it's just going to be crazy. I mean, income. Like, I feel like people are going to get a lot more money with their income tax now too, just because of everything with the big beautiful bill. So people are going to get more money for their tax returns. That's down payment money because March, April, when people get their down payment money or their tax returns,
Sure.
boom, that's right. That's
That affects every market. Yeah.
1,000%. Yeah. Hey, I can
For
afford a car. I
everything,
can get a new
yeah.
car now. Or hey, maybe I can like build a shed, or maybe I can. It's you get more money in the consumer's hands. They're gonna do stuff with it. Right?
Well, hopefully. I mean, the other aspect of this is that there's also a set of millionaires and billionaires out there that are buying up a lot of the property that is on that cheaper end, which is then obviously drawing up that cost. Like I'm sure you, like most agents, have somebody that's an investor that you've sold 1 to maybe 10, 12 houses to, but they're out there, right? And a lot of them are from other states. Like I have, David's on the show tonight, but I know he has an investor, I think that's from California, that can buy as many as 20 properties in a year, turn them into rental properties, which then I think that's really where the market just imploded on itself. If you go back to like, what was the thing to do in like 2015 is like, oh, buy small houses, turn them into rental properties, passive income. It was like preached as this is the way of the future. Well, then you had all them people doing it. And then what else do you have? Then you have all the big companies that are like, shit, we should be doing this too. Like this is a great second, form of income for a large corporation that might typically hold commercial real estate because now, they can diversify that portfolio a little bit.
Yeah, you look at BlackRock. I mean, their assets under management in the billions, right? A lot of that is single family. And I don't know necessarily like how much of that affects Northeast Ohio. I'm sure.
Well, it does. Maybe some. It evolves. Yeah, it's not like they're just buying properties in certain locations.
No, for sure. But what I'm saying is like a lot of those single family homes may not just be like, hey, there's like a block that's just bought up by this entity, right? I mean, it's all around the United States. Now, I believe personally, like I think no foreign entity should be able to purchase real estate in the United States. Like,
I agree.
I think that's crazy. Like you could have like a company out in Korea, they want to buy a bunch of single family homes, or a company out in China where their government isn't. I mean, you don't know if they're going to seize your stuff. They could seize your assets whenever. Oh, I'm going to go put it in American real estate. Well, okay. Well, they buy a block of single family homes. That's a safe investment, right? And then all of a sudden, like now you just took off like 3, 4, 5 different homes, right? Like, and now you can't purchase. So like, I don't know. I'm not a policymaker by any means, but I would say 1 to 4 units, no foreign entity can hold title. Like you just don't let it happen.
Yeah. So investor purchases, including corporate, have elevated in Ohio, accounting for 16 to 21% of the sales in the recent years, going back to 2021.
Yeah, Cleveland's a hotbed for investments for investment.
So
properties.
actually, so the on the large institutional investors, so huge corporations, they are at 3 to 4% of single family homes across the United States. Ohio's typically a little bit lower, but Cincinnati's above 5%. So actually, Cincinnati is where a lot of that is being done. Overall corporate ownership likely affects 10 to 20% of single family homes statewide.
Yeah, I mean, because you're also competing against big money too, right? So like when we talk about how, hey, 20, 30 years ago, my house was X amount and now it's, 50, 60% higher, right? Well, there's a lot of factors that come into that, right? Well, we were just talking these, companies that will go in and buy up these single family homes. They'll just buy it cash for over, just to, basically take out the next buyer. Yeah. And now that house is now a new comparable because now it is more expensive, right?
Well, and let's be honest too. I mean, as a corporation, let's say you're not even in the real estate industry, but 4 or 5 years ago, you started writing off huge amounts of money by spending it on single family homes, just to show loss so that you could, write off your your profits from another business. Well, now that real estate has gone up 20, 30, 40% over the course of times, and you just, you know what I mean? And you didn't have to do anything with that. What better way to make money than not have to do anything? But then it's not like they're buying the $500,000, $600,000 homes. In most cases, they're going to buy the least expensive ones. And then rent goes up, right? I mean, I remember it's been 5 years since I graduated high school, but I remember like you had to spend between $400 and $600 to rent an apartment. Yeah. Like, what's the ones on Reagan Park? They've been there forever with the big water fountain or whatever behind like Bueller's and that. Was that?
The Redwood Apartments?
No, the white ones. Reagan, is it Reagan? Fox, not Fox Meadows, but Fox. Anyhow, did you used to be able to rent like a apartment with an upstairs, a fireplace in it for like $1,000. Now it's hard to find anything less than $1,500 that's livable.
Yeah. I mean, which wouldn't necessarily, like, if the price appreciation in itself is whatever, but like wages really haven't grown that much to be able to catch up that way.
No, I mean, you're talking about a 300% wage increase, right? Yeah. And even if they have that $1,600 renter who wants to buy a house, well, now, I mean, the average house at that same point in time was like $160,000 $180,000. So you could, at a 5% interest rate, you could have an $1,100 payment on a house, and you could buy. Where now, as that house is $250, and the rates are 5.5%, 6%, and sometimes higher. And now that first mortgage is $2,400 a month, $2,200 a month before you have all the other bills that go along with owning a house. And it's not even a nice house. I mean, I don't mean that
water
in a harsh
heaters
way.
out 1 month,
I
furnace is out the next.
Yeah, I mean, no, people are passing on inspections in order to get into a house, and it's like
that's crazy.
When you hear these things, it's like all you can think about is, well, this is where it usually implodes, right? Like all those people that bought houses that were too expensive, they overpaid for the last 4 years. They have no equity in their home. They probably won't have the amount of equity that somebody that bought a house 10 years ago is going to have. The rates are sky high. And now you're at a position where, stuff starts to go broken on it because you bought a 30-year-old house or a 20-year-old house. It's a tough market out there. I know there's a lot of people that are succeeding and doing well in it from both sides. And obviously there's a lot of first-time buyers that are buying their house. But realistically, the first-time buyer in today's market doesn't have it as good as they did 15 years ago.
You don't want to, you don't want to romanticize buying the house. Like it's, you owning a home is not an easy job, right? Like it's you're always doing something to
Gotta
it.
cut the grass.
Yeah. There's always something that breaks, right? I'm going to call my gutter's broke. I'll call the landlord. Oh, dude, I am the landlord. You know what I mean? So romanticizing home ownership isn't like.
Well, you need two incomes anymore to fix anything almost.
Well, that's the other aspect.
Well, yeah,
that's
the other kicker
that's
to
the
it,
other
is
thing.
everything else is also increasing at the same time.
Right.
Because my friend just got his water heater replaced. It costed him like, what was it?
15.
It was more. It was like $2,300.
Wow.
Well, and so that goes back. We've had this conversation with guys. The new set of millionaires, right, is going to be the tradesmen that still are doing that stuff because
100%.
It's so much harder to find somebody to do a plumbing job or to do HVAC and stuff like that. So now
do it well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And so now those prices have gone up because they're just inundated with work. They're charging more just because they want to make sure the next job is
Which
worth
the
it.
rhetoric like 20 years ago was like, go to college, go to college, go to
Yes.
college.
Yeah,
And
now
that's
it's
the
like-
mistake I made because I could have been in the trades. My friend's
You could
pipe
always
layer.
start now.
Fuck,
Go
my
lay
friend's
some
a
pipe.
yeah, that's well, he's a
It's
fucking.
not like you have a job right now. You know?
No, it's true. But no, it's like he's a pipe layer and he makes over 150,000 easily.
Yeah.
A year easily. And I'm like, he's like, I keep getting inundated with more and more work. They keep loading me up. And then I know someone else that does he first started at a private plumbing company. And then next year, he does it by himself. And he has people on call that owns apartment buildings, complexes. And he's like, I sometimes don't want to do the work. So he doubles like what he wants to make.
Yeah.
And then people are still like, I need this done. Come and get it done. I'll
It's
pay
actually kind of
whatever.
crazy. A lot of that you see a lot
Yeah.
of venture capitalists that are actually buying a lot of these mom and pop shops. Oh, you know Cody Sanchez, you ever heard of her? She's like the boring business. But Cody
Yeah.
Sanchez. What made her famous was instead of going into real estate like 10, 20 years ago, buying doing a fix and flip or buy a hold real estate or whatever. So she'd take out an SBA loan and buy a boring business, something that's been in business tried and true for the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years that will be here for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, right? So she bought a laundromat, right? People that has been,
Yes.
it's not going away, right?
Never.
People are going to need it. So she started with the laundromat, then she owns like a plumbing business, HVAC, right? And then I kind of started looking, I'm like, you start just talking to people, right? Like you kind of hear these bigger corporations actually just pouring money into trades, like buying up like, smaller mom and pop shops. Are you hey, are you are you like a baby boomer who's wanting to exit, right? Okay, we will acquire this business from you.
Right.
I don't have any statistics on it, but just from like just talking to people, I feel like that's more of a trend now that you're seeing.
Of course. Why? I mean, because it's a business that's booming, right? It's one that's doing well. The problem is there going to be enough people to
Service
to
it,
fill those
Yeah.
spots. But yeah, taking it back to homes, I bought this home in 2013. It was 4 years old when I bought it, so we're going on 16-year-old house now. And it's like, man, shit is fucking needs fixed. Like stuff just randomly happens, and it's not even that old. But like we had to replace the carpet because 16-year-old carpet just eventually needs replaced, and just random stuff that you start to do around the house or landscaping and all this stuff. And it's like, man, I couldn't afford to do this if I would have bought this house now, because this house would have been like the value on
it's
this
so
house
true.
would have been $300,000 higher than when I bought it. So it's like, man, how like going back to wages, it's just a really tough market right now. You're either doing really, really well or you're probably struggling. And I think that's where a lot of new home buyers are not sure what to do. Do they stay in their rental property, or do they go out there and start to look for a house to purchase?
Yeah, there's a lot of frustration for sure. I mean, we hear it all the time, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm buying, a $300,000-$400,000 home, right? I'm 27 years old, I'm buying a $500,000 home. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely is crazy, but like, what's the alternative, right? Are you going to pay $3,000 a month for a $400,000 home? Or are you going to pay $3,000 a month in a rental, right? Like, you got a kid now, you have 2 kids now, or you want a dog. It's like, dude, like, I'm trying to get married, have kids, blah, blah, blah. Not me personally, but like, people want to hit those milestones in life and they're not able to because they're getting priced out.
Yeah.
Geez, I pull credit reports all the time on people who, like, it's so true. Like, people they're drowning in debt, right? Like, student loans, big one for our generation. Like,
Yeah.
They don't understand, like, when you go into college, you're 18 years old and everyone's like, go to college, go to college, go to college. But like, dude, at the end of it, you're 40, 50, 60 grand in debt on average.
Light.
Right?
Yeah.
And God forbid you're going, higher education.
I remember here's a big difference. In 2000, like they were like, oh, college is going to cost you 40 grand a year to go to like Ohio State. Like, or not 40 grand a year. I think it was 40 grand for a college experience, right? The GI Bill from the military was 50 grand. I was supposed to pay for your 4 years of college. Like, now to go to Ohio State is probably $40,000 a year, and now you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars of student loans.
But it's like Americans, like, I guess, the White House, Washington, they're complaining about we need people having more kids. Well, dude, like, birth rates are down because people can't afford them. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people our age who want to have kids or get married, but like, dude, okay, you're gonna get married. Okay, if my parents aren't rich. Okay, that's what, 30 grand, right? Maybe more. Okay, well, there's that. Now I got to pay $300-$400 in student loans. Okay, there. Now I got to pay $500 in a car loan. Now I want to buy a home that's $1,500. It's like, dude, I'm on a $60,000 salary. Like, there's no meat on this bone. You know what I mean?
Right. And then you can't afford to do anything else. Right.
Yeah.
Or if you don't take vacations, you don't travel, you just sit yourself working, you don't even enjoy your life. Like, there's a real
And that's what
disconnect.
you're seeing too, is just the burnout rate. I think with just people in general is crazy. Like, I don't know, we were walking around the mall and it's like you walk around and you can just see it in people that there was no joy for the holiday, and it's just like that's because they're walking in the mall like wondering how the fuck I'm gonna buy something.
Well, and that's the other, well, and that goes into the other thing too, is like we've become such a culture of buyers of junk. I mean,
Nonsense. Yeah.
you know, you look at like the Amazons, the Walmart.com and all these things. Like the reason Christmas sucks is because everybody already gets everything right then and there. Like when you want something, you don't like put it on a list. Like,
It's a click of a button.
Like it's a click of it's not even that. I could be watching Prime movie and all of a sudden I'll get a notification that says add this to your cart or add this to your order, and it's like, wait, what did I just do? Like I thought I was hitting fast forward, and but people in general just buy stuff so easily. And you know, we talked about the guys that made this board. Well, I mean, right now, if you wanted to get a board like this size, like you can get a knockoff on Etsy or something like that, or sent to you on Amazon, get it to you in a day, and it's junk, but you have it the next day, and then like boom, like now that takes one board off of this guy's list that he has to make. That's a higher quality that lasts long, and one Christmas gift off of some guy's, you know, Christmas list or something that he wants that his wife could buy him. And we've become such a culture. We spend so much money on junk now that also takes away from the money that goes on houses or on cars, etc.
Do you guys have like who's like for your viewers, like what's your demographic usually? Like do you get like a lot of 18-year-olds?
Yeah,
like,
so
I would assume males, right? Guys and I. Right?
Actually it's only like 65% males. But it's typically like 18 to 55 is like,
okay.
And then it fluctuates, like 30 to 34 is like a real high peak, and then like 21 to 26 or something like that.
So like I guess like I mean, you know, for your 18-year-old viewers, right?
Yeah.
Like, what advice are you giving them? Like, you know, hey man, I want to be successful in life. Like, I don't know if I want to go to college. I don't know if I want to go to trades. Like, what are you telling them right now?
So I think as an adult, like one thing, like there's two ways to look at it. One, I think that people today, especially at a younger age, don't want to work as hard as I was willing to work, or a lot of people were willing to work when they were 18. Like I took no days off. I really truly believe that like your 20s is where you're built
For
to
sure.
You build your empire.
to build what you're gonna do, like your career, your skill sets, your connections, your networking, your whatever it is that you're focused on. But now I look back at that, and I would I be where I'm at now if I took that down a notch? Probably not. But now I look at things that I've been able to experience, like, you know, for the last 6 years, my wife and I have spent like 3 weeks to a month traveling a different country or something. And it's like, man, as a kid, I kind of wish I would have done that more in my early 20s. Like instead of worrying about having a nice new truck or something like that, like I wish I would have spent more time doing that. So it's tough to decide like what direction you would point your kids at. I think for my own daughter who's 16 and is about to, you know, graduate high school in the next year and a half, for her, it's more so like, I want you to like enjoy like what the world has to offer. You'll have plenty of time to work your ass off at any point in time. You could start at 25 if you want and do that. If it was a guy, I think it'd be different. I think it'd be like, look, take a year off, enjoy the shit out of the world, but then get your ass to work because you got to earn a living to buy your house, buy your cars, and stuff like that. But
that's why I still believe like America's like one of the better countries to be able to get yourself out of poverty, just because it is for sure. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat. It's hard, right? Like it's not gonna be easy by any means, but like I don't know, like you have these freaking YouTubers like who are 18, but they do 2-3 years, they put good content out, and then all of a sudden they're making 4, 5, 6 times as much as me. You know what I mean?
So
Like,
here's the thing too. So that goes back to this generation and the desire to work hard. Let's be honest. What percentage of YouTubers do you think are making, you know, 6 figures a year? It's probably less than 1%.
Yeah,
for sure.
less than 1% for sure.
And then it goes to the culture that we live in today. Like, I mean, I can't tell you how many people that I hired to sell cars and work for me or to be mechanics. And after a year, like, oh, I'm not making X, so I'm just going to quit and go do something else. Well, dude, like you don't just like get there. I think a lost part of like the X generation and beyond is the desire to excel at something and being willing to put the time and effort at one spot to do it. Right. So you look at like the generation before me, like my parents and grandparents, like they worked in the same factory for 30 or 40 years, but they retired with a pension, with a good benefits package, retirement money. Like that was like the thing to do back then. And then you look at my generation, it was a hustle generation. Like people just worked hard. It didn't matter if you had to work 2 jobs, 3 jobs, third shift. You know, when I first got out of the military, when I started selling cars, like I worked 7 days a week. I had no problem putting in 6 or 7, 12 to 13 hour days. and doing whatever it took. If I had to deliver a car somewhere on a Saturday afternoon, I didn't care. Like that took priority. And then my free time was my free time. Now I think that you just have people want to do it all. They want to be the YouTube guy. They want to be the sales champion, but they don't want to put in the extra effort and the time. Like those guys that make those guys in the top 1% of YouTubers, like they have some superior editing skills. They do an amazing job. They build their build. Like that's not an easy thing to do.
No.
I mean, you guys probably create content for yourselves. Like it's hard to make content.
It is for sure.
Second
Doing
job.
a podcast is easy. It's
Yeah,
nice.
this is a cake job, dude. The hardest part about this is getting people to come on and talk. The editing portion is like a minimal, but when you're trying to do other content, like my wife and I want to start doing content for like the baby on the way and like reviews on strollers
series,
and stuff
yeah,
like that.
that'd
And
be
it's
cool.
like that is a way harder edit. You know, we all the traveling we do. I probably have like 150 hours of drone and action
The
camera
amount of
footage.
stuff we have.
Yeah, from like
traveling,
Ireland,
videos,
Iceland,
photos,
Scotland, all these different places, and it's like, how do I make a video out of this? Like,
Yeah.
I don't have that. I have the vision, but I don't know that the tools.
That's the same thing I come in when it comes to editing photos. I have so many photos from some of my clients that some of my clients call me back to they want re-edits because they want a different background or different coloring scheme on their back or something. It's just I have the time, but I'm like I don't have the energy or the editing skills sometimes to do that.
Good thing you're jobless now, so you got lots.
I'm gonna get that all week.
But yeah, so when you talk about like, there's those people that are doing that. It's the same thing. There's guys like you that are graduating high school and getting into their first gig in sales or real estate. There's real estate. There's people that are putting the two together. First year in real estate and they're killing it, selling $1 million houses because they found a guy that does videos for real estate or drone videos for real estate. Like there's just so much for it.
So that's where I was gonna go. Is like as hard as many obstacles that you have that are in front of you today, there's also so much opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Because like social media, and I've said this so many times before, is like, you know, it's kind of the great equalizer, right? Because as long as you are putting content out, like you can make a brand for yourself, and you could be brand new in the industry. And if I'm just putting consistently, I'm putting content out, I'm building my brand overnight. You know, it'd be like you couldn't do that 30 years ago. Like most people would just have a billboard that's $5,000 a month, and you drive by it and just you see it once every Tuesday.
Hopefully people call you, right?
Yeah, exactly. But with social media now, like I could just friend everybody, put a reel out, and then just put another reel out, and then bam, like there's my content. People are gonna remember me and keep, you know,
As long as it's
connected.
valuable, right?
As long as it's valuable, for sure.
What content are you bringing to the table? Like, are you having a conversation about, hey, your first loan, this is what you need to look at. How much money do you have to make? How much you can afford based off of that? Like, if it's valuable content, then yeah, absolutely, people will generate it.
Yeah.
And then it'll rebuild itself. There's also a lot of people out there that are just spitting junk out there.
For sure.
You know, it's like hard, and then that just clouds the waters. Right?
Yeah.
I think I saw something that was like 2 billion videos uploaded to YouTube.
That's great. I can't even wrap my head around.
Dude, that's
that.
like in an hour or something like
that's
that. It's
nuts.
something insane.
A billion. I can't even
how
2 billion. I
many-
can't even like wrap my head around how much. And yeah, so like you have to be able to. I mean, you're a sea of people. Like you have to be able to be seen, right?
Yes.
Right.
But like I don't know. Like I look at guys like Alex Hormozy, who I watch
She's
pretty
awesome.
much every day, right? I mean, he talks about this all the time. Like attention is the new gas, or attention is the new oil, right? Like that is what people like. You have to consistently do it, and yeah, like I don't know. Like I think that's just really powerful, you know.
Yeah. I
So
think
right now, real quick to touch on this before we forget, YouTube, approximately 500 of hours of video content are uploaded every minute.
500 hours.
30 hours of video per hour means there's over 720,000 hours of content per day uploaded. Let's see.
That's
One detailed
insane.
analyst reports an average of 46,000 videos are uploaded per hour. So 46,000 videos per hour are getting up on YouTube. Based on Q2 data showing over 1.1 million videos a day.
Wow.
that's crazy.
Peaks of 20 million videos per day.
Yeah, I mean,
How do they even have the cloud storage for that?
Dude, you know what? It's like I just watched. I don't know if you guys ever seen this. It's like a TV series. It's an older one. It was like a couple years old. But it's called Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And it's like this guy who like creates this software or whatever that like takes stuff down, and they're talking about, it's like the first like mention of the cloud and stuff like that. And you think about like YouTube, whatever, 10 years ago, 15 years ago to what it is now. Like you said, how does there something that exists that allows that many people all over the world? There's just this library of
I was gonna say, there's just a state that just has the massive data center, and it's just YouTube.
Little do we know we can't drill for oil because we've buried like just billions of data centers underneath the United States that control all the data.
That is so crazy.
Oh man.
But yeah. So like I guess like to finish the point though was like what you were saying, like you have a lot of younger guys who are like, I think what your point I guess was kind of just sticking to one thing, and instead of just like, oh man, this isn't working out, going to something else. It's like, no, just stick to one thing, right? Stick to one thing and just kind of like work it out, right? Like and for me, that's kind of like a newer thing for me too, like that I've always wanted to try and do different things all at the same time because I thought it would be cool. Like you hear, hey, millionaires have 7 streams of income, right? Like that's minimum 7 streams of income. They have this, that, the other thing, blah, blah, blah. So I always thought that'd be cool. Like, yeah, like I'll be super busy doing, 20 different things, and yeah, I'll have income coming from all over the place. But like, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing like that I just lose money. And anytime I try to do I tried Amazon drop shipping, like I tried to do that, lost 30 grand. You know what I mean? And that was, it was an awful mistake, but it taught me a really good lesson in that, like that lesson was, I thought I knew what Amazon drop shipping was. I thought I knew like what Amazon FBA was. I didn't understand everything, and I'm not investing in something like that again. I've tried stock picking before, like on the side, didn't really know what I was doing. I was like, oh, like this is cool. I thought I knew it in a bunch of videos. Like I lost money doing that, like it's like 5-6 grand doing that. You know what I mean?
So you did day trading multiple times.
I did that like in 2019 or so. I did that one time, lost a couple $1,000. I'm like, I'm not doing that again. Right. So like there's like things that I just realized. I'm like, no, like I know wrestling and jiu-jitsu, and I know mortgages, and they complement each other, right?
Yeah.
Like they really do. So like, cause I'm in front of people, like the more time I'm in front of people and have conversations, like that's just how I create business, right? You never know when someone's going to buy a home who needs finance. So like, this is what I'm sticking to now. Like, I don't want to go to anything else.
Well, the other thing is too, you have to make sacrifices when you do that, right? Like people that ask me like, how did you get so successful in the car industry so quick? Because I was relatively young by the time I was operating multiple stores. And it was like, dude, when I was 21 years old, 20 years old, 22, like I just worked nonstop, like all the time. Like I was at the dealership all the time. I didn't have like a relationship. And then when I did eventually get married, I still was grinding so hard. And the marriage didn't last. I married the wrong person, made all kinds of disastrous moves, but whatever the case might be. Well, now I'm at a point in my life where I actually like my wife. I actually like hanging out with my wife. I actually like traveling. Like I have all these things that I want to do, and that takes time. So what does that mean? Like it means that I don't have as much time to do this. It means I can't just stay up editing videos till 3 a.m. because my wife's going to want me to go to bed, or she wants me to do something with them. But it also means I have to be a better manager of time. Like how many times do I spend 30 minutes, an hour of a day over the course of an hour, over the course of the day, where I scroll TikTok or watch YouTube videos or stream something on Prime on the phone next to me while I'm doing work? How efficient am I really being on my job at that point? So there's all these other distractions that we have now that we didn't necessarily have 20 years. So when you talk about becoming super ultra focused in something 20 years ago, well, it was a lot easier because
so true.
You didn't have nearly as many distractions. Now you have all these distractions, and it becomes like addictions, minor addictions. Like how many times are you like sitting somewhere and maybe the conversation that you're at a table isn't that interesting, and you pick up your phone, and it's like,
so true.
My wife will yell at me. She's like, I can't believe you picked up your phone when your mom was having a conversation. And it's like, fuck, you don't even think about it. Like it's like you zone out for a second, and like the first thing you do is you like pick your phone up and scroll it. And I think all those things are a factor. And for kids today, it's even worse because they went through COVID at school where they basically
Yeah.
got sent home and told to do homework from home and pay
Well,
attention to a boring teacher for an hour. And
Well, you gotta understand, the kids have now access to iPads. Every kid I ever see
Well,
at
yeah,
the
that's-
store looking at their iPad. You can
We don't got an iPad.
No.
Yeah,
No,
well,
like I just had a kid.
Congratulations,
And-
dude.
Yeah,
Thank you,
good
thank you.
for you.
9.5 months old.
awesome, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're getting to the fun stage. They're like getting ready to walk. And
Yeah,
all
yeah.
That good
So
stuff,
it's
right?
real fun. But that was one of the big things we talked about is no iPad. Like no,
Yeah.
I don't want them to have screen time. Like I want them to kind of like be like a '90s baby.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
And
It's
yeah.
grow up and be creative and
play outside in the dirt and dig.
be bored.
Yeah.
Being
Go
bored,
make fun.
exactly.
Yeah.
Being bored.
Be
You're
bored.
supposed to be bored because that is what actually activates imagination, right?
Yeah.
Like, dude, when I was a kid, like, and I would be like, my dad would be like, oh, I go up to him, hey, I'm bored. He'd be like, okay, go outside.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll go outside.
Or he'd like make a laundry list of all the shit you have, and it was usually like 4 things: like go listen to music, go ride your bike, go play in the dirt. I don't know, just get out of my face. Like it was like, oh, okay. I
It
guess
was
I'll
go outside.
Yeah,
Just go
yeah.
outside.
My dad rule was only when the lights came on, I expected you to be home. That's it. He's like, go do whatever you want. Go get in trouble. Just don't get arrested. Go have fun. When the lights come back on at nighttime, get back in the house. That's all I ask.
It's funny.
yeah, I mean, now you just have kids who'd rather just sit in and
Yeah.
watch
Play
the
video
6-7
games.
stupid
Yeah.
Oh
shit.
my
I can't
God.
stand that shit.
Oh, it's so bad.
Yeah.
And then that's what you're talking about. Kids are not thinking or imagining anymore
Yeah.
today at all because of this.
Yeah. No, 1,000%. So like, I don't know, like for our kids, like I want them to be,
Mhm.
you know, like I think at the very least, like what we're teaching our kids right now is just to be able to make like have the ability to share like, and make friends, right? Instead of like, I don't know, I feel like that's more fat. Like Dr. Jordan Peterson talks about that all the time. The number one skill you need to have as a 2, 3, 4-year-old is the ability to share and be able to make friends.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you're the kid who is like, you know,
Glued
you're
to
a
your
toddler,
iPad or
glued to your
whatever.
iPad and you can't socialize. Well, we're a social species, right? You have to be able to make connections with other people. And if you're connected more to a device than you are to humans, it's like, I'm sorry, you're going to not have confidence when you're older. You're not going to have social skills when you're older. You're not going to be able to communicate.
Well, and that,
You know?
that's probably a lot of the political shit that we have now is we have all this whole generation of people that grew up on iPads and stuff like that. And like, they don't have any ability to like conflict manage, right? No conflict resolution. They don't have ability to talk things out or have a conversation. Like, because they
Agree to
they've
disagree.
Yeah,
like,
they've never like so little people have actually had that point in life where they actually had to figure something out because you could either just walk away, not be friends, go back to your iPad, go whatever it is that you wanted to do. And you know, Jordan Peterson talks about like one of the phrases that I've heard, I don't know if it was Jordan Peterson, but it's like violence starts when people stop talking, right? So
Yes.
like
Yeah.
we have like as a culture, nobody communicates. My wife does a barber, and she talked about this one teacher that comes into school. He's like, man, you know what I miss? He's like, I miss writing detentions for people passing notes in class or for people talking during class. He's like, now I have to like beg them to talk to each other.
crazy.
Like I have to have like 10 minutes of class where I'm like, hey, everybody, sit next to the person next to you and tell them a story about your weekend. Like, and he's legit has to do that stuff because they don't even like conversate. And it's like, man, like, what is that going to do to the future? Why are people not having babies? I don't know. Probably because they don't have a fucking conversation, let alone pick up a girl at a bar or you know what I mean? Why are bars so dead now? Like a lot of bars are quiet. Like people don't want to go into that environment where they can like just sitting with your buddies talking shit and socialize. And it's crazy. And that's not everybody. Don't get me wrong, but there's definitely a decline in that ability to communicate.
yeah, there's a thousand. We were even talking about our like, dude, you want to talk about how
our
buyers are today?
It's crazy.
So they just want to text all the time.
Dude, they want to text.
Yep,
It's
yep,
it's
that's-
very it's
And to deal with that all day.
it is like a little bit more streamlined, I think, in that like it's kind of it's easier in a sense that like, hey, you want to go through an application, just fill this application out. I'll get back to you. Whatever. Hey, here's your rate. Here, blah blah blah. Whatever. I mean, I like having that connect because you know Kevin's a real estate agent. He's in front of people. I'm not in front of people,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm doing a lot of transactions every day. Like I don't have. You really can't. Like physically, you can't do it. So like for me, like I like to be able to have that connectivity to someone, to be able to build a rapport and be able to make sure like, hey, like, you know, I'm taking care of you. Some of these buyers, younger age buyers, they just be like, hey, don't want to talk, just want to text, send me your application, I'll fill it out. You know, we'll just go from there. I'm like, guys, let's just get it on the phone, get on a Zoom call, and let's talk. You know?
I can't tell you how many clients I've had where I introduce myself, give them my business card, and let like a week passes, they just text me their order. I'm like, can I just call you, talk to you, like, because I want to introduce.
That's because you're dyslexic, motherfucker. Like, he's like, I can't fucking read this shit.
Well, I'm like, I prefer texting, but I'm like, bro, I want to call you. I don't want to fucking text all the time.
This coming from the guy who will literally text me, and then I'll call him, and he'll ignore my fucking call and text me back.
Oh yeah,
it's like, what the fuck, dude? Pick up the phone.
No, I prefer picking up the phone when I'm talking to clients because I want to get straight to the point. I want to understand what they're thinking. I want to know what they're talking about.
You want to fucking put down a Dos Equis when it's Budweiser because your ass can't fucking read.
You know, that's one little thing too.
Oh my god.
I love
just think
calling
with
people.
how technology is evolving, like that's kind of the consumers, you know, that's where they're going.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's kind of crazy like that.
So it's funny you say that because I've been in that conversation when I refinanced my house into the Verl or whatever it calls
An Earl.
Yeah. I found myself not wanting to have a conversation, like just do it through text. It was easier. And you know what I was doing in the meantime? It's not like I was so busy I couldn't talk on the phone. It was that I'd rather fucking scroll on my fucking phone or do something else. And it's like, fuck, man, how many people am I on the phone with? And they're like, yeah, and my wife gets on me about that too. So that's like my focus in 2026 is like I am going to try and minimize my stream time.
Well, some people are
like
going
2.5 hours.
Well, some people are going back to their old retro phones.
I've seen that.
Yeah, some people are going back to the old Motorola's, the old was it Razors, and they still have. You could still have the internet. You could buy an updated one where it has the internet and stuff, but it's a little harder to use and stuff.
I do a minimalist phone, right? So like, I don't know if you've ever seen this.
The phone is called a minimalist.
No. This is the Galaxy. This is Ultra, but like basically it's an app that I download. It's like $1 or something. Yeah. And all it does is it puts my app, like, so you know how you have all of your apps and everything, they're colorful, right? Like the color is what attracts you to certain applications. Well, like this is just basically, I have only the apps that I use on a daily basis. And then like, and if I'm trying to get to a certain application, I have to like physically look it up, which is annoying. So then I don't do it. You know, so like
you make it hard to get to.
I make it harder to get to. Yeah, I mean, you know, like it's trying to build a habit, right? Like James Clear talks about this, building habits.
Stacking them.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you want to try and build a good habit, you make it easier and accessible, right? Like if you want to eat fruit, put fruit in your right where you can see it all day, every day. If you want to break a habit, make it harder to get that habit to actually access that habit.
Yeah.
So my boss, he actually it's called a brick, like brick your phone or something like that. Yeah. It's something you can buy on Amazon. But basically, like he was the same thing. He's like, dude, I wanted to get to the gym every morning by 6 o'clock, so I'd get up at 5 a.m. and then before I know it, it'd be 6:15. I hadn't left for the gym. Why? Because I was sitting there scrolling Facebook or LinkedIn or something else. I was like, yeah, I do that too. Or sometimes I'll get to the gym and sit in the parking lot for 15 minutes. And it's like, what did I just do? I was like on a mission today. I was ready to go, and then I failed. So that's something else. I'm going to go back to my time manager. It's one of those things where like I did it before and I would do really well at it, but then you'd be like, shit, I really need to look at something on YouTube right now. And then as soon as you give yourself the permission to go past the 15 minutes once, guess what? It's that much easier to do it again. You know?
But these companies know that like that's why we do so much advertising like through Meta and like Google pay-per-clicks and that type of SEO, because we know that people are going to be on their phone scrolling, and then all of a sudden, like you see one of my reels, it's an advertisement. It's like, well, you might not be looking right now, but then, hey, maybe you're at warehouse and you see you would see my advertisement up there or something. Then all of a sudden, hey, your cousin's looking to buy a home, right? Oh, hey, I know this guy, right? Yeah. So it's just building that, buying up that mind share, and social media, like those types of that type of advertisement. It's like that's where we're going.
That's going to be the new real estate, is just all through social media.
Yeah. So actually, we're going to have a guy on shortly. God, he's going to hate me because I totally forgot his fucking
you can
name.
edit it.
It's That's too much work. It's much easier just to show when I screw up.
Jeez.
Let's see here. Come on. I know it was recent. But I saw him in the gym and he's like, hey, I'm ready to come on the podcast now. And he's like, I'm doing real estate content now. And that's another whole level of marketing is the real estate content that's out there. I while scrolling TikTok, I watched this dude who's like sitting on the outside of his house while he like flies a drone through the entire house. Like he's got like cupboards open strategically so he could fly through them and shit. And it makes the house look so fucking dope. And it's like, that is like the next level real estate shit. So real estate agents like yourself, they're going to have a guy who's going to come in, they're going to pay him $400, $500, do the video, and the house is going to sell that much faster. And it looks that much better. And, you know, that's the next market. People aren't going to want to look at their houses on an MLS listing anymore.
No.
I mean, it's probably getting to that point now. I mean, if not, how many people are even like, can you just do a video walk through the house for me so I could just see what it looks like without having to take time to go see it?
I would say we're still in kind of the area of where someone wants to go to the home, but I would not be surprised that in the next couple of years, it's going to mainly turn into just visual walkthroughs.
Yeah.
And it's just a video walkthrough.
I feel like if I was a real estate agent today, my thing would be that I would go every time a new house went on, I would literally spend my days, if I wasn't with a client, going to new houses and doing a video walkthrough, posting it on YouTube and like putting that on my thing. And I feel like that would just get so many clicks and views.
I mean,
And then you
that's
can
the
make it
sales
funny
funnel.
and interesting. Like, but you know what I mean? It's just one more way to, and then obviously you talk about people that pay for SEO. People that pay for SEO businesses, it just mind boggles me, the wasted money in SEO. For instance, dealerships, they would spend $20,000 to $30,000 on SEO for buying keywords. Well, guess what? You're competing with every other fucking dealership that's spending 10 to 20, 30. The only person who's winning is fucking Google.
Yeah, 1,000%.
You know,
100%.
Meanwhile, if you took that $30,000 and you paid your employees, you know, $10, $20, $30 for a video they made, and you had them all make one video every single day, you'd spend half of that and you'd have yourself, you know, 600, 700, 800 videos getting posted a month, which would do way more for original content and SEO for your business in an area than paying Google for a fucking oil change, you know? But it's like businesses haven't quite all caught on to that. The ones that are dominating it.
Dominating 1,000%.
You know, I see car dealerships that have huge TikTok followings, and one's like Apple Ford in California, and they have like this girl who does all these random videos. There's nothing about selling a car at all, but the fact that her views are getting hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views and you know 50,000, 60,000 likes, and they have like 10 million followers. Guess what? Like I know who they are. And I've never been there. How many times when they search something on Google is that video populating and people are like, oh, Apple Ford's right down the road? Because now Google's sharing TikTok videos, right?
Yeah. And we were talking about Alex Hormozy. I mean, his like rule of thumb was like, you need 3 pieces of content pushed out a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And I'm like barely getting one out like a day.
See, and then the other aspect is every level of content needs to be different. Like Instagram needs to be more professional, but now they say TikTok, it needs to be less professional. Like literally you driving in a car going to the next house. Hey, I'm going to show my client's house today. You know, they're selling their first house, they're buying their second house, and that is story time that does really well on TikTok. Versus Instagram, like if you're going to post a video on Instagram of you doing something like that, it needs to be like a professional set environment with professional sound and stuff like that. So like not only do you have to create those pieces of content, but now you have to do them a certain way in order to maximize the different platforms. And there's a lot of work that goes into it.
It's a full-time job now.
It is. But you know what? There's things that could be done. Like for instance, your realty company, right? They could hire somebody that's a full-time in-house that could be doing it. And like certain people like just have a face for videos.
I think you guys did, didn't you?
Yeah. You guys brought your own in.
Yeah.
That's like a big thing you guys are doing is like social media next
Pushing
year.
heavy on social media.
Yeah.
That's a big focus of everything now. Just kind of like what you said when it comes to like selling a home, like posting a listing video, like the number of views that gets, it's going to get 5, 10, 20,000 views. Where on like Zillow, you get like 1,100.
Yeah.
So it's like, why wouldn't I post it on social media first?
Right. And depending on where you're at, like if I'm, you know, you're hashtagging obviously Ohio or Northeast Ohio and stuff like that. If I'm a buyer and I see your video, guess what then I did? They're in Ohio. Oh, let's see what other houses he has. Oh, this one's dope. Like, I'm going to follow them, you know? And then it's just like, and then it's top of mind awareness, right?
Mhm.
It's no different than the Budweiser Clydesdale commercials that used to be on TV, but now people don't watch TV and commercials. So now that top of mind awareness comes from TikTok. I
Mhm.
saw him on Facebook, I saw him on Instagram, or he was at my gym, or they were at here. And then that's the next level of top of mind awareness to how you draw people to your business. It's 7:43, and I know you wanted to get here early because you got a sick mama at home. So let's talk about, in a year and a half, what's the craziest story you have as far as in real estate? What's the craziest thing that's
A
happened to you?
year and a half. Well, I got a good one when I was working for an investor, looking at a property, out of state investor. He sends me the address, and this was an off market property. So he knew the owner or somehow had the ability to buy this home. Well, he sends me the address. I instantly realize it's East Cleveland. I'm like, oh, like maybe it's not a bad area. And I'm trying to be optimistic about this home. And I pull up to this driveway. Oh, we're in it. We're in the thick of the hood. And I was just like, what am I doing here? Like, I don't belong like in this area. But like, then I get up to the front porch and just needles all over the front porch. I called him instantly. I was like, dude, you're not buying this home because I'm not willing to walk into the door. And then I FaceTime and I go, because here's what's on the porch. He goes, oh, I didn't realize it was that bad. I was like, yeah, like whoever you're trying to buy this from,
they want like $10,000 cash.
I was like, just don't do it. Like, it's not good.
They don't even own the house. They're just the guy
Yeah.
who's squatting in it. They're like, let's just call people and see if somebody wants to give us 10 grand.
Yeah.
To buy.
And then after that, I realized, like, you know what? I don't like working with out-of-state investors. And so now I don't.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, yeah, they look at a $30,000 home, and yeah, I mean, you were talking California. They don't know East Cleveland,
right.
That's just east. It's east of Cleveland. Who cares?
Well, they just hear that Cleveland, oh, great investment opportunity.
and they
But
see a
it's like,
$30,000 house that doesn't look completely torn down,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, but it looks okay. You
You
know?
really have to know Cleveland before you invest in Cleveland. Just because you can be on one street and then the next street over, it's completely different.
I got
Yeah.
tons of stories about that. Tons when I work in the beer industry.
So what's the best story? Is there like a particular person you sold a house to and you're like, dude, this was an awesome story. Like, I'm glad it worked out, or
Yeah, actually, my buddy recently wanted to buy a home, wanted to buy a duplex, get into like the house hack a little bit.
yeah.
Doyle was the loan officer on the deal. But it was real quick. I think he had FOMO because the other buddy just bought a home.
Yeah.
So he was like, I got to catch up.
You got a
And-
bigger one.
Yeah. So
He did.
we look at one home, and this first home, it's a duplex, massive. It's over 3,000 square feet.
Wow.
And the price point was like interesting because it's like this thing should be worth so much more.
Really?
And so we look at the home, and he walked out of that place. He's like, I'm going to buy this house. I was like, yeah, you are. Like, we're going to buy this house.
Yeah.
And then got it under contract, did a little bit of negotiation, and got it. We sealed the deal. And so it was just a one and done.
There's
And
a
it
little
was-
drama at the end, though.
There was a little bit of drama. The seller had the liens on the property.
Oh.
Yeah. Not even on that property. It was on another property in like Youngstown.
Get a judgment.
Yeah. And they were going to make him pay the lien before he sold the home. So he wanted to crush the whole deal.
Oh man.
Yeah. And we were going to.
What was he gonna do? Not sell the home and
I
just
know. Yeah,
That's
so dumb.
literally what
he
we
dragged
were
out. He
going
dragged
through.
He dragged his feet.
Yeah. So literally he just had to like come to terms within a week, and then he finally agreed to
Yeah.
like secure the deal. But like that is probably my favorite story.
Yeah.
It's the one and done. And the house that he got was just a killer deal.
He's cash. I mean, his mortgage is covered. That's why I love doing the duplex,
Yeah.
triplex, fourplex, just because like, you know, like, cause that's where I started. I bought my first home. My wife and I bought our first home duplex. We still have the duplex, Medina.
Mhm.
And it's like, I don't know. It just made so much sense. I love helping people out that could do the duplex deal. Cause you
Yeah.
live, I mean, it makes sense. Like as long as the home isn't trash, you buy it, you live in one side, you rent out the other, you live there for a year, and then you move out, get a new tenant in there, and boom, you're cash flowing.
Mhm.
You know,
What's the number one request people have when looking at houses? Like, what are the must haves today?
Well,
Is there
I
anything
would
that
say
sticks out?
everybody's got the taste of champagne, but the price of beer.
That's
so
never gonna change.
yeah, it always makes it really interesting.
In the car business, everybody came in wanting to buy it, wanted a $250 payment, but looking at a $40,000 car.
Yeah.
Right? So I get it.
So like I feel like that's never gonna go away. But really the big thing is something about the Four Seasons room. Especially if there's like a wife or a girlfriend involved and there's a Four Seasons room in that home, they will do anything to like convince their husband that this is the home that they need.
Really?
Yeah, it's the
do
that
love a
extra
Four Seasons.
Four Seasons room.
Good to know. I'm gonna have to put one of those on the back porch. Man.
I want to get one next year.
Oh, look.
Yeah, they're awesome. Like they
It's
are
so
awesome.
nice.
That's
It's
hilarious.
great utilization of space.
Oh my God.
And then for you, Chris, any stories that kind of like just like anything in particular that makes your day as far as
I guess like the hardest part about my job is not necessarily like the financing part, right? Like the actual job in itself, because especially like I've been doing this for a long time now, like you kind of get situations that overlap. Like you're like, okay, this one is kind of like the one I did last year. This one is kind of like the one I did a couple months ago. Like there's really not that, it's not that tricky, right? Like there's assets, income, credit. We pre-approve that way. And then you pre-approve them, boom, you find a house, they get in contract, you close them, they're done, right?
Right.
Now, like if you're a new loan officer, guidelines are hard. Like there's a huge learning curve, right? I'm just kind of past that point.
right?
So like that part, the consultation, like that isn't really the hard part. The hard part is really just the like being able to get the business, right? Like, cause I'm not doing over the phone anymore, over the phone sales. I'm not doing like that. Consumer direct is what we call it, direct to consumer. I'm out there prospecting, doing business to business with real estate agents to have them partner with us to be able to say like, hey, like I would love to send you business, etc., stuff like that, or working on my own sphere of influence, social media, friends, stuff like that. You know, I'm prospecting just like he is. So I think that's like the hardest part of my job is really just the marketing. That front end part is really the hard part, you know, for me.
Right. And then with you guys, when you have first time buyers, what are the things that first time buyers need to know? Is there programs out there for them and things like that?
Yeah, 1,000%. In Ohio, we have a great program called the Ohio Housing Finance Agency first time home buyer program. So OFA, right? So with OFA, if you meet the certain qualifications,
Which are
So there's income restrictions, right? So like in Northeast Ohio, 2-family, you can't make over, I think it's like 99,000. There's certain things that like, if for example, like you're in certain areas in Cleveland, like you can go a little bit higher and stuff like that. So there's exceptions to the rule, but so there's income restrictions, there's credit, like you have to have decent credit, right? So like minimum 650, stuff like that. Debt to income ratios has to be okay. So it's like
when you say minimum
niche.
650, does like types of loans and the amounts of loans you've had before
varies.
mattered, or is it not as important as the score? How's that work?
So like the qualification, so we're still qualifying based on like a basic FHA, like Federal Housing Administration loan or a conventional loan. We're already going to have those qualification standards. OFA comes into play as kind of like a subsidiary of that, where they say like, okay, we're going to give you a reduced rate as long as you meet these qualifications already set by FHA conventional, and our restrictions as well, right? So like you still have to get approval in what's called an automated underwriting system, computer algorithm, right? That takes into account assets, income, credit to say, yes, you can buy a home, right? Then, like I said, then OFA comes into play and says, on top of that, you have to also, have an income restriction. You can't make more than X. You have to have this. You have to have a little bit higher credit score, 650. Or depending on like if you're like an Ohio Hero, for example, right, like a paramedic, that's a program in itself that you can get a little bit reduced rate, or closing cost assistance, down payment assistance, or a first time home buyer, right? Like you have a closing cost, down payment assistance that way, or reduced rate, or like a grant for grad program, which is I graduated within the last 36 months of like of a school, right, or even a trade. And then boom, like you can have a closing cost assistance that way too.
Interesting. So there's a lot of different programs that are out there. You've got to know all of them.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that comes with the territory. Like, you have to be an expert in your field, right? Like, you have to know the different programs, because like what I would offer him would be different for you, right? Based on like, your VA, right? So like, obviously I'm not doing that for you, but like,
You guys do VA loans as well?
yeah, 1,000%. Yeah.
Mhm.
So just being able to find like the right loan type for the right type of person, right? Like that's what we want to do, making sure like you guys are taken care of,
Sure.
right?
For you, when you're meeting first time home buyers now, what is it tough to have that first initial consultation, or are they coming to the table already having an idea nowadays as far as like, hey, this is how much I make, I know I can pretty much afford this? Are they going to the pre-approval first route? Are they looking for homes first to see what's in the market? What's that like for you?
I think a lot of times they kind of go in a little bit blind. Like they want to buy a home, but they just don't know where to start or how to do it. So like I encourage everybody, like if you're serious about buying a home, like let's take that next step and have a conversation, and let's get you pre-approved with Chris, just so we can figure out the nitty gritties. But also like there's simple ways to kind of know what you can and cannot afford. And like I think the most generic, but it's kind of like useful, is like the 28-36 rule, where 28% of your monthly income, that should be your max monthly payment per month, and then your monthly debt shouldn't go beyond 36% of that.
Total.
Yeah. So
Or
then,
above and beyond that. So 50 or 6, what is that, 64% total debt?
well, no.
No,
So if like
debt
you
to
have like
income, yeah.
5,000, say you have an income of 5,000.
Your debt to income overall should be 38%. So if you're
Yeah,
making
and that's gonna
$10,000 a month,
Including the housing
including your
payment.
payment,
Yes.
38. Okay, that's what I thought you meant
Yeah.
initially. I wasn't sure.
And so like that's like a good like reference point, but I would say it's not like I wouldn't put all
Yeah.
my eggs in
Yeah,
that basket
right,
with
right.
that. Like have the conversation, because then the more you know about what you can actually afford, that's what's going to be most important. Because if you just go in and start looking at homes blind, you're going to get so defeated so fast.
Well, it's funny because, 20 years ago, I feel like everybody went to a house. They're like, well, I want, 3 bedrooms. I want like a half acre to an acre. I want a fence, or maybe not because I have a dog. And I want like a finished basement. And I'm like,
Mhm.
that's like a $500,000 house now, almost
Mhm.
everywhere. Right. For you, you said you're based out of Strongsville,
Yeah, that's where our
but you
office
sell
is at.
everywhere, of
Yeah.
course. Do you have an area right now that's more popular than another as far as where people want to live? Like I know we just had.
Yeah,
well,
Medina is
Is it really?
Medina is where like everybody wants to flock to.
What about Highland, Hankley?
Highlands,
you
yes,
consider
but
it-
it's just
expensive.
the price point there is
Chases people away like they already know.
it scares them.
Yeah.
But you also can't like. There's there's only like 2 developments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Highland School District, right? Because you can't have like 2. So you can't sell in like anything less than 2 acre.
I think they
plots.
just changed that though.
Did they?
Last year? Something happened last year, or somehow somebody got away with it and had built a couple of developments or something like that. Yeah.
Well, I know
'cause
they're
that's like a
building
big,
houses.
Big
They're
thing.
they're like off of Arlen, like that, closer to like Bueller's. that
Yeah,
side.
they're doing some different
Rustic
stuff
Hills.
out there. I know they're trying to get
They're
away
building.
on that.
Drees is building homes
I
out
was gonna
there.
say
pretty
Drees is
quickly.
building homes.
They have that development, which is nice, but I can't think of can't think of another one. I mean, dude, everyone wants to be in Highland because it's the best rated. It's one of the better
Yeah.
rated school districts,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? But like, also, not everyone can afford a $600,000 home.
No, I was gonna say, I think
minimum.
property's starting out at like $70,000 an acre, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, out there right now.
Mhm.
Maybe
Probably
80.
More than that.
Yeah,
for
more
sure.
than that, really.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's expensive to get into Highland, but like Medina, I mean, I think the average selling point here is like in that 350 to 370 range.
Yeah, you got a lot of new home building.
Yeah,
down
so
here.
like you can find a decent home on a decent plot of land and like check a lot of boxes. But I think too that's another real important thing for first time buyers is like you have to make a list of what you want, what you need, and like what you can't live without,
Yeah,
because you're gonna have to give and take no matter what. You're never gonna find that perfect property that checks every single box and it's
Right.
the
Even if you
one to
build
be.
it.
Yeah.
Well, unless you build it, or it's not going to be affordable.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's why I encourage everybody to take the conversation, get pre-approved. That way you just don't start looking at a $400,000 home, but you can only afford
Yeah, you're just going to
300,000.
heartbreak yourself.
Yeah. And then it's just going to discourage you.
So let me ask you this, and Chris is probably going to be like, don't say that, but builder financing is becoming a thing, right? Like you have like Ryan Homes out there right now offering like 3-year ARMs at like 2%.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an asset to you when getting somebody into their first home, making it more affordable and saying, hey, this gives you like 3 years to like figure something out? Or do you kind of steer people away from that? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I would say yes and no. Especially because like if I'm working with a first time home buyers, like a lot of those new builds are starting at 500,000-600,000.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really you're gonna find that's gonna be the upsizer.
Unless you're at Ryan Homes, right?
Yeah, Ryan Homes, you can find something pretty cheap. Not the greatest build though.
Yeah, it's funny. I hear more and more complaints, but they're still building hundreds of houses everywhere.
Yeah, honestly, with Ryan Homes, I look at them as a 20-year ticking time bomb.
Yeah,
Just because when it hits that 20-year mark, everything starts to fail.
yeah.
And I was showing a client a Ryan Holmes, like an older Ryan Holmes house, and he was kind of like on the fence about it, but I steered him away. I was like, at the end of the day, like you're gonna be paying so much out of pocket just to make that home livable that you will hate it probably in 5 years.
Right. But for a first time buyer, it's an option out there, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's really like it's becoming the only option in some cases. Would you agree? I mean, I know you hate the idea of owner financing, but
Well, builder
even
financing,
builder financing. But in a lot of cases, like to that $300,000 home, one, it's the only way it becomes affordable, and two, I mean, what you're comparing it to is a house that's already fallen apart
Mhm.
twice over.
Yeah.
in a lot of
Yeah, I mean,
cases.
like you said though, but like there's so much demand though that to
Mhm.
build these houses, it's like, dude, we're just gonna build it in 3 months or like 4 months, right?
They
And
build
then-
them so fast.
I know exactly, and then people, yeah, there definitely is that sentiment, but honestly, when you're talking to a home buyer and that financing incentive is, hey, it's 325 and your rate is 7%, but we're gonna buy that rate down for you to 5%, so it's more affordable for you. It's like, well, shoot, why am I gonna go look at comparable property, where I have no buyer incentives? It's not new. It's like, well, this probably makes more sense. You know what I
Right.
mean? But like you said, I mean, I can't speak on anything like that. I'm not in
Yeah.
these homes or anything.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know any
Right.
of that stuff. But yes, that's like, obviously, yeah, I'll cringe at that because that's my, it's a competitor, but like they're doing good upon from the financing part. They are doing justly upon the
Mhm.
borrower because they are giving them a good deal, right?
Right.
Something that we really can't, no wholesaler could really even touch.
Well,
I was
but
gonna
when
say, I
they're
don't think lenders can even compete with it.
well,
just
but when
because
you're
it's so
buying
different.
that, they used to be 5 and 7 year ARMs, and you'd go from like 7%
There
to
was
15%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in that same scenario, though, they're buying down the rate. They're using the profits into the building, right? Like, so a $325,000 house, if they're going to buy your rate down for 3 years, down 2%, like they're going to spend $10,000 to $15,000, which
The buyer, you're saying?
the seller, the constructor,
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
construction
The builder.
company that's
Yeah.
buying down that
Yeah.
2%.
Yeah.
It's no different than when you go buy
Yeah.
a new car and you get 0% or you get $4,000 in rebates. Like the manufacturer's giving you the same amount of money. It just depends on how you look at it.
Mhm.
So it's the same with these builder loans, I presume. So when you're negotiating with that builder, the benefit to them, I would think, is that it keeps their property values high. If they offer people, instead of a discount on the house, they offer them a discount on the rate.
It's typically what you want to do
Yeah.
because then, if we have to get that, once you actually have your certificate of completion, you do your appraisal, right?
Mhm.
You have to get the home appraised if you're a borrower, if you're financing it. Well, you want to make sure that when that appraisal sticks, you want to make sure that, hey, this is coming in higher because that comparable property, guess what? The next home is being built in 3 months. You want to make sure that home is going to appraise
Mhm.
high.
Yeah,
you know
of
what I mean?
course. Yeah, because their expenses are going up every month as well when they go
Yeah.
to build, right?
Mhm.
So interesting. Words of advice before we leave. How can they get a hold of you, Chris? What people need to know, and what are you better at than everybody else?
Yeah, I mean education, right? Like I handhold. It's I come from a point of just saying, like we talked about, like, hey, people want to text and stuff like that. Like I think people are more anxious than they've ever been, right? And I want to make sure that I'm the person I truly believe that that they trust with my experience and everything that I've been through in my my time as being a loan officer. It's just who I am, right? Like as a person, not even just as a business owner, right? Like I want to help these people make sure they get from point A to point B with the least amount of anxiety possible. So like I always put myself as in the forefront of like, listen, like you were talking about rates. Rates aren't gonna. You go to 3, 4, 5 different business, blending institutions. We're all gonna be within the same, right? So at the end of the day, it's like who's gonna hold your hand the best, the tightest, and making sure that like you're educated on this process because it's scary, right? Like whether you're a first time home buyer or you're selling your home for the first time, you're buying your second home, and you have simultaneous closings, like. You don't do it every day. So I come from the perspective of just educating and making sure that like this is an easy process for you, right? To contact me, I mean, dude, yeah, like just call me. I mean, I don't know if you could put it in the description.
Of course, I'll put it in the description. Absolutely.
But yeah, or follow me on social media. Like I'm always, like we said, we're doing a lot with social media. Kevin's doing a lot with social media. So like, yeah, Instagram, Facebook, trying to do these funny reels. Like they're just, they're just skits and stuff, but should be good. I got some good stuff coming.
All right, we'll check it out. Kevin, what about you? How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, call me, email me, kevinkellyestates@gmail.com, and then also social media, which is also Kevin Kelly Estates. But yeah, I guess for me, the biggest thing that I believe separates me is the saying I go by, which is communicate like a leader and execute like a machine. Because I think
Awesome.
in this industry, it's so important.
That on your business cards?
No,
It should be.
I should put that on there. Though.
Should be.
It's like my favorite quote, and it makes sense when you break it down into like the simple terms. And in this industry, you have to over communicate everything. Because now I don't wake up in the morning to a pissed off client because they didn't know about something.
Right.
If anything, they know what's happening now, what's happening next, and what's going to happen after. And that, to me, I think, even my clients, they just love that because they're always in the know, where it's very easy to get lost in this industry because there's so many variables, so many moving parts.
Well, there's so many bad stories too, right? Like when you're buying a home, you're looking at a mortgage. First of all, you're like, why am I paying $600,000 for a $300,000 home? But by the time I pay this off, like that's just scary when you look at it in general. What are points? Did I pay points? I don't know. What do points even do? Like how much more did that cost me money? Like, why am I, you refinance a home? Why am I financing my escrow? Oh, because I'm getting my old escrow back and I got to put 6 months in ahead of time for costs. Like there's just all these different aspects to it that it's scary when you look at that bottom number. Like
you're not used to it. Yeah. It's you know what? You don't buy a home every day.
Well,
right?
it's, people used to say you don't buy a car every day. No, but you usually buy one every 3 to 5 years. And it's pretty simple in comparison to a house. Right. Yeah, house you might buy like 3 in your lifetime.
For sure.
Unless you're investing properties, things like that. And then on top of that, you have all the other aspects of owning a home that you think you're ready for until you're not, until your hot water tank goes out or your air conditioning unit goes off. And it's like, man, now you get to really enjoy owning a home.
You
gotta mow your lawn.
I will stand by that. Like buying a home, I still think is like the American dream. It's why people come. Like a big reason people come here. Like they want to own a home. Like other countries, you can't do that.
Right.
Like as crazy as that sounds, like dude, you want to buy a home in China, right? Like okay, well. Maybe wait another 5 years before you say something or slip up and the government takes your house from you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, this is an awesome country. Like, we can live here and own real estate. You know, like you can
pay taxes on it though. It sucks.
Which that's a different, different conversation. But by and far, like I still believe the American dream is alive.
Sure.
And I think that's an amazing year that's about to come. So like, yeah, like. If you're a buyer, well, hit me up. Like, give me a call.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks for coming on tonight and sharing your stories and interests. We'll definitely put all your information below. And so if anybody that's listening, you got some more questions, you can reach out to these guys. It's a pleasure to meet you, Kevin. I know Chris, you personally.
I'll see you in the gym tomorrow.
See you in the gym. And he's a great guy. Can't pick a different person to do business with. And hopefully the Elevate Jiu-Jitsu is benefiting from this too. So you can get a home loan today, get your ass kicked in the gym.
That's what we do.
That should be your infomercial.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, that should be your shorts, actually. You should be like, have John walk up to you and be like, are you getting bullied by the mortgage lender trying to tell you can't afford a house? Well, watch this.
That's so funny.
Then you just break a baseball bat over his head.
Shoot.
All right, good night, everybody.
Night.
Night.
In every word we begin to reveal